Okay, cool. Yeah, since this is a kind of beginning, kind of a demo, kind of a class, or where you get a little bit idea about
Yes.
data science space, I understand that you're not from tech background, you have no idea at all, but got some interest somehow. So I'll just brief you a bit, like what data science is all about. Of course, if you have any questions, anything in the big, I mean, me, well, while you're listening, feel free
Mm.
to stop me and just ask the question if you have, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So generally in in IT, actually there are four pillars. In IT sector, there are four pillars, I would say. The first one they call something called front end. Front end means you build front end tools. For example, if you go to the facebook.com example. So then the front end you see, you have to build it like, whatever the front end is, like the buttons and everything. So for that, you need like a front end, yeah, like for example, this one, the
Mm.
username, password, login. So you have to create this kind of stuff. So for this, you need HTML, CSS, JavaScript. There are like, a lot of tools like, JavaScript, stuff like that. So this is one. And the second pillar we call backend. So here you need to know a little bit about Java or Python or, many languages are there mostly like. So like even databases like SQL, MongoDB, all this stuff would come here.
Mm.
There is a third pillar in IT we call cloud pillar. We call cloud technologies. This is where you will get the idea of AWS, Azure, GCP. So many cloud options are there mostly. So fourth pillar, which is the recent one, which is we call data pillar. This is where the idea of data analytics, let's say data analytics, data science, data engineering, ML, AI, so all the advanced stuff coming here because data pillar has been growing. If you look at it, 10 years ago, we didn't have enough phones, technology, and everything. But now, without phones and internet, we cannot really live. So in a way, the data pillar is the one that's been growing for the last 5 years, let's say, and it continues to grow. So there is a some data here. You can see there is a graph here. So every year, how much data has been generated? You can see year by year, the data keeps on growing. Like so, currently we are somewhere here. Let's say, yeah, 2025 year. So the data growing will not stop. It keeps on
Mm.
increasing. As data increases, obviously the work on the data also will increase, which means you need data analyst people, you need science people, you need engineering people, you need AI ML people as this pillar gets strong and strong. So this pillar somehow in the future can kind of replace all these three pillars. It's already doing it now with the generative AI and all the technologies. So this pillar is almost like replaced in a way. So if I want to build some front end, I don't need to hire a front end engineer. I could simply hire a robot, a bot, which can do this work. Same thing for this also. There are some tools that can do that. If this also, but in the future, the data pillar is going to replace all other pillars as well. So that is where the data science comes into the picture mostly. So typically data science means like there are like a pipeline. For example, let's say, let me write it down. Since you're interested in the data science space, so the idea of the data science is all about doing some science on data. That's it. Science on data, like let's say. So what kind of science you think you will have to, based on the data you will have to see? For example, imagine that I give you a data of, let's say I own a t-shirt company. I collect some data from the my company. So maybe I collect the customers data example. For example, let's say I collect customer name, let's say customer age, customer gender, maybe what color the customer is bought and what is the price he paid and customer location. Let's say I'm collecting this kind of information. Maybe let's say customer A equal age, maybe A equal 19, maybe gender male, maybe color black, let's say location, maybe let's say Hyderabad. I'm just making it up.
Mm.
Let's say when I have a data like this, let's say maybe 10,000 rows are there, something like that, like 10,000 customers.
Yes.
So this is my data basically. So when you go to any
Mm.
company, when you work, this is the exact real data you will get. Just like I have a t-shirt
Mm.
company, I collect this data. Now you have to do some science here. So that's where we call
Mm.
data science is. So you cannot directly do data science. You will have to follow some pipelines actually. Maybe I'll tell you data science pipeline. First pipeline is basically the first pipeline we call data collection. Data collection, which is where you have to collect this data, store it on some we call database. This is where you use SQL or MongoDB to store the data. That's the first step. So data collection is the first step you do in any data science pipeline. So once you collect the data, then only you can do some analytics, some science on it. So the first step, you as a data scientist or data analyst, your job is to collect the data and store it somewhere on databases like. So then once you collect the data, then there is second step we call data cleaning, they call. So cleaning means removing unnecessary stuff from the data, unnecessary stuff from the data. Let's say I think here I don't need customer name generally. I can think of it like a customer because by knowing the customer different names, I cannot do much analysis. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Usually every name is unique, so maybe I can remove this particular column example, or I can remove some unnecessary example. Maybe sometimes inconsistent data would be there. For example, first row is this. Maybe second row would be like I don't know. Second row would be like this example.
Mm.
Then I'll have to maybe consistently follow the order. Maybe instead of male, I have to replace it with M, something like that. So there's some noise usually there in the data, in real world data, where you have to clear that particular noise. That step we call data cleaning. So once the data cleaning is done, then third step is we call data visualization. So this is where I can understand this data via charts and graphs. Let's understand the data via charts and graphs. That's it. For example, maybe I can do something like I can do some charts. Like for example, maybe I can create a chart of like let's say a pie chart of like a distribution of gender. Hey, how many male
Mm.
are there? How many female are there? Maybe
Mm.
60% male, maybe it's 40% female. It depends on data, obviously.
Mm.
Similarly, how many, maybe I can make a bar graph of which color is the most sold or the ice sales of the color. Maybe this is
Mm.
blue, black color, maybe this is red color. I mean, I'm just making it up. Maybe this is this, maybe this is this, and so on like. So I can create a graph for this. Or I can create a line chart, line graph. How many sales are there for each day or each month or each year, something like that. Maybe sales are decreasing, increasing, something like this. So this is all like we call data visualization. You take a look at the data and you try to plot graphs and charts as much as you can just to understand the data mostly like. So for that you need some tools obviously. You could use tools like Python, you could use Python, or you could use tools like Tableau or Power BI. These are mostly like Power BI, depends on your interest most. But at the end of the day, you want to do some data visualization. And finally, fourth step we call data insights. So data insights means finding the patterns in the data. Maybe I can give an insight by looking at this data like, hey, majority of our customers are between, example, majority of our customers are between, let's say, 19 to 25. Example, I'm just making it up. So that's an insight for me. Okay, most of my people are young people, which means that I need to promote it on maybe social media or maybe wherever the young people are there. So similarly, I may get another insight, something like majority of our customers are female, example. customers are female. Then I can say that, okay, most people are buying my t-shirts are female. So obviously it seems like female has more attraction for my t-shirt. So let's promote more female. Maybe let's do some female activities or some programs so that's to attract more female to buy my t-shirts, something like that. Maybe another insights I can give you majority of our customer locations are from Hyderabad, example. So which means, okay, it seems like Hyderabad people are buying my t-shirts compared to other cities, which seems like there is a trend in Hyderabad for my t-shirt. So let's maybe do some more promotions on Hyderabad compared to other cities, example. Yeah, based on these insights, I customize my business opportunities or business marketing or business, strategies mostly. So this is something you only extract insights after you doing all these stuff. Maybe after data visualization, maybe cleaning, you will kind of draw some insights from the data. That's also part of data science only. And the last part, maybe not necessarily last part, but let's say we call data prediction. This is where you use AI, ML, DL, or AI, something like that. I mean, so data prediction means given the past data, we predict the future data. For example, given the last month sales or last 10 months sales, I can predict future sales. I can predict future sales. So this is again, this is where you use machine learning, deep learning, AI kind of a thing. So given the past data, you try to predict the future data mostly. Like, yeah, so which location I'll get more t-shirts or which color people prefer. I will predict all of the information for the future given my past data. So these are the pipelines typically company follows from data collection to all the way to data prediction. Of course, there are some other things also there in between, but these are high level, the topmost priority for any company if you go. If I own a small t-shirt company, I follow this pipeline. If I own a big company like Instagram, I do this only. Imagine if I am the owner of Instagram. The first thing is I do collection. So every time somebody upload a photo, I create a pipeline to store the data in the databases. Then I remove the unnecessary stuff from my database. Then I do some visualization, some understanding of the data. Then I try to draw some insights, say what kind of reels people are seeing, what kind of interests are there, which location is most many views are coming, like stuff like that. Of course, it's an international platform, so obviously I'll get like many insights. Um, then I do prediction. Prediction means, hey, can I show this reel to this user? Will this user like this reel or not? Uh, like something like every reel you see is a prediction only. Like the whole Instagram feed is itself is a prediction. Every reel is a prediction based on your past interest. Yeah, you given your past interest or viewing history, you will be predict. I mean, you will get the reels that you are most likely to kind of like it or watch it or share it or something like that. And it keeps on growing. It's a loop actually. After data prediction, also again you collect the data, again you clean it, again you visualize, again you draw insights, again you predict it. Like it's more like a loop only, so this is the pipeline or this is the working profile I would say that you need to do in a company if you go for a company or any workplace, let's say. Yeah, I just want to take a pause and see anything. Is it okay? Do you have any
Yeah,
question?
yes, yes. It's understandable. No questions still now.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Then let's come. Okay, in order to do all this pipeline, let's see what kind of things you need to have, what kind of knowledge you have, what kind of tools you need to know. Maybe let's see what kind of knowledge you need to have. Let's say. The first thing is, as I told you, the first step is the data collection. So which means you should have knowledge of databases. Databases knowledge you should need, which is something like maybe SQL or MongoDB. It depends on your interest. So that's the first thing you should know. The second is for data cleaning or data analysis, you require mostly knowledge of a programming language. Because if I give you a piece of data like a thousand rows, you can simply open it on Excel. That's very easy. But in real life, the companies have millions of data points, we call. So you cannot really open that data on Excel or any software. You need to use some sort of programming. That is where you have to have a programming knowledge, programming, any programming language. So Python is the most common, Python or R. Usually people in this space prefer Python and R. So of course, I recommend Python only because with Python you could do a lot more stuff compared to R. R also you could use for data analysis and everything, but Python you could do a lot more stuff because Python is more like a backend tool as well. So I would recommend mostly Python. Then you require some sort of, let's say, data visualization tool, which is like which tool, let's say. Maybe if you have an idea of Tableau or Power BI, you could make a good report or visualization report, let's say. That will give you a better idea, like, what the data is actually telling. Then let's say for data prediction, you need to know machine learning and deep learning. This is where AI concepts comes. So machine learning is mostly theory only. There is no coding, very easy coding. Coding is very easy, like just like 2 lines, 3 lines, you can pretty much get any task done. But there is a lot of theory and experiments. The experiments means that you have to experiment with different data. Like the experiments and theory is what you need a lot more. So coding, very less coding, machine learning or deep learning, or mostly same only machine or deep learning. Let's write it down. So that's it. If you know this, and the last tool, maybe if you know some sort of like cloud tool, that would be great. Some cloud tools. That would be optionally, this is, that would be great. If you go on, let's say, let's go to LinkedIn, maybe. If you type on the data scientist roles, let's look at data scientist and jobs. Let's see what kind of things people ask. So let's say I'll click on this. See, let's see. There are some tools in Python that you need to know. The tools like NumPy, these are Python tools only. Pandas, Matplotlib, these are very common tools you should know. And some machine learning tools and some deep learning tools. So machine learning tools are like scikit-learn, scikit-learn, and PyTorch, let's say. Deep learning is PyTorch, basically. That's it. These 6, 7, 8 tools max, all are Python tools only, just Python packages we call. If you know those tools, I think you could do pretty much in data scientist. So that is what they ask. Pandas, NumPy, you can see the job. Then there are actually in deep learning, there are two areas. One we call computer vision. Uh, Either you can work on a computer vision task, image tasks mostly. Let me write it down. Computer image data, let's say. Computer vision mostly focus on image data. Image data also data. Focus on image data. That's one. And the second we have NLP. NLP, that is more like text data. Usually companies prefer one of them. It depends on the company. Let's say if you go for Instagram.
Can you please give some example of image animal? I mean, what kind of data generally? Like,
Let's say if you look at Instagram. So what Instagram generates is what? Instagram generates photos, right? Photos,
yes.
reels, I mean, photos and reels mostly like. So photos itself is image data. So Instagram collects a lot of image data. So
Mhm.
now Instagram can do analysis. For example, Instagram can identify the photos. Hey, which photo is this? For example, let's say you upload a dog photo. So the Instagram has to identify that, oh, hey, this is the dog photo. The Instagram
Okay.
has to understand it, like, so that it can recommend to the people who have interest in dogs. So it
Mhm.
can show that image to the hours, let's example. Now, if you go to Twitter, Twitter collects or X recent Twitter X, Twitter collects mostly text data, so tweets. So Twitter has to understand the tweet. Hey, what this tweet means, what this text data means. Is it about, or even not necessarily Twitter, or it could be any news channel, also any news thing where you write some text data. So it can understand that tweet and it can suggest that tweet to people who have interested in reading that particular tweet. So this is more like a text data. So this is more like image data. Maybe let's say YouTube. YouTube is example of or video data. YouTube collects the video data. Like, you have to understand what video that is. Like, similarly, you have a Spotify. Spotify collects the audio data. Audio data. So maybe which song, which track, which music, and stuff like that. So these are different kind of data. Everything is data only. For you, it doesn't matter what data it is. When you learn data science, you treat everything as data only. There is no difference like text data, photo data for you as a technical person. But of course, as a user, you think it's different data because photo is different, text is different, video is different, audio is different. But technically, all are pretty much numbers. So technically, there is no difference. But yeah, so computer vision is a big area where you focus on image data or audio data. Oh, sorry, video data. Video data. NLP is more like text data and audio data mostly. So NLP, natural language processing, we call it. So these are the big areas because of the collection of the data mostly happening. And of course, there is also structured data we call, which is CSV file kind of thing, which is like a tabular data mostly. So every company usually collects 100% tabular data, but some companies collect more of NLP data or computer vision data. Depends on the company you go. So it depends on the company. For example, if I'm a t-shirt business, I don't really collect much of image data or audio data or text data. I simply collect mostly the customers' data, which is much structured. Um, Similarly, if I have like some sort of social media thing, then I probably collect any of the photo, audio, video, text data most. It depends on the company to company. So if you look at this one, like let's look at this one, data scientist. Let's see what they're asking. So yeah, they're asking something like this only. Hey, pandas, numpy, these are again Python tools. SQL or no SQL. No SQL means MongoDB only. Experience in AWS is a huge plus. So if you know any kind of cloud platforms, that is good. And maybe finance domain or payments domain is a plus. A deep understanding of data, it's normal. These are normal things. So you can see experience coding in one or more programming languages such as R or Python. You can see, and you can see deep learning neural networks, machine learning algorithms. So pretty much any role you go for, let's go for senior data scientist. Yeah, I mean these all are like senior people. Maybe we can apply in. It's all okay. Let's look at this one. Yeah, so they're asking this only, right? What skill have you need to have data visualization skill, SQL, Python, machine learning, some statistics, or Tableau. We can see TensorFlow, Pandas, Scikit-learn, LLM. So these are like basic like tools like you get asked a lot mostly. Yeah, that's what they're asking. Plus this experience with data visualization tools, proficiency in using SQL, Power BI, Tableau, Power BI, understanding Python for data pre-processing, building models, NumPy, Pandas, Scikit-learn. So pretty much basic statistics, normal verbal skills. That's normal. So any company you go for, mostly people ask that only, like whatever the tools that I explained, mostly same tools only. 90% is same. Sometimes like there are some customized tools they ask, depends on the requirement. But most commonly, they ask the tools that I mentioned, like, you have to have a data storing skills, which is SQL, Python, some machine learning, some deep learning, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, you can see pretty much same only. Yeah, this is also pretty much same. Python or some cloud tools, any cloud, machine learning. Yeah, pretty much same. Anything you can look for, you can go to LinkedIn and try data scientist roles. Most of the roles is that much only, like, so Python, SQL, Flask. So we also did a lot of research. Based on our research only, we have to have good knowledge in Python, SQL, NoSQL, NumPy, Pandas, Plotly, Matplotlib, these, and MLDL algorithms and tools mostly, like, that's it. So I'll show you the kind of work you get. Yeah, this is what the responsibilities typically. It's passed from data collection, as I told you. Then you have to do cleaning. Then you have to do some sort of data analysis, like we call exploratory data analysis, we call. Then you do visualization. Then you do model development, means like model prediction only, like data prediction, like mostly. And again, these are all technical terminologies: model, evaluation, deployment. All these are technical words. But mostly, yeah, as I told you, your responsibility is pretty much that only. You either collect the data, clean, or if you go for startups and stuff, you will do all things by yourself. But if you go for big companies, obviously there is a team. You will be allocated a piece of work, like, hey, you do this, you do that, like. But at the end of the day, we recommend people to do all. I mean, learn all, do all, so that you can be useful for any area. Like, not sticking to one particular area, but you can take any work and kind of able to do it. Like, yeah. So this is where we think that the four pillars of the entire data science and AI. So the first pillar is basically the programming language. Uh, and SQL also comes here only. Programming means Python and SQL included here, actually. That's the first pillar you should have. Then the second pillar is mostly the data foundations, which is mostly theory, but this theory is the most important compared to anything else. Like, then you have to have a machine learning pillar. You have a bunch of machine learning algorithms and stuff like that. You will have to learn those algorithms. Uh, there's a little bit of math involved here, basic statistics, basic linear algebra, like, it's not that difficult, but, we'll see how you learn. Based on that, we have to tweak. And deep learning is probably the state of the art. So this is where you have like opportunity to grow. If you know deep learning, that means obviously you are less than 1% of people space. Like, most people who are in this space obviously can't really get the knowledge up to deep learning. But if you have deep learning knowledge, I think you have like the top skill in a way. Like, you get opportunities much easily compared to other people who have like basic idea of data science. So, and these are the tools that I mentioned: Python, NumPy, Pandas, Plotly, Matplotlib, Tableau, Power BI, Kaggle, Scikit-learn, PyTorch, SQL. So most of the tools are like easy to learn only. And we mostly focus on practical learning, which is like 40% is practically you, wow, I mean, you see the result and you apply, not necessarily theory. But of course, there's some theory, maybe 20-25% theory is there. You have to take some blackboard and write some theory stuff, just kind of thing. And another 20-25% is tools. Tools means some of the tools like, NumPy, Pandas, Tableau, Power BI. So these are the tools, and some math and some statistics, I would say. So yeah, depends on your interest only, but this is the generalized version. This is the best way to train someone, or best way to get skilled in shortest time possible, since we have only 2 to 3 months. And if you go on real life, in real life, people usually take 6 months course for this, all like. Well, in a way, we don't really want 6 months course. We want to cover it in, like, let's say in 2 3 months, let's say, and it's completely possible. Uh, we have passed, let's say, if we go to our platform, okay, okay. Not sure you get the access to our platform login details. But if you go to platform, every class will be recorded. Uh, you have a lot of projects people have done who also came from the very non-tech background completely. Again, you will have to do something like this. Every project is done by past members only. So I'll make sure you'll get these credentials. Maybe you can take a look at each project, how these are all the real-time projects only, how each project works, what kind of things you have to do in order to do it. Uh, yeah, maybe but I'll tell you quickly. So we take 2.5 to 3 months of training, 1 hour class every day. So most of our learning comes from practical projects or practical knowledge only. There's no much theory. You can see all these classes. We start from this, the previous batch, let's say. You can see 74 classes happen, 18 students are there. Let's say, yeah, first we start with maybe Python. We started Python first. You can see. So we can maybe let's open one class. Yeah, this is the class. Yeah, this is how the class. I just muted the sound. Just yeah, something like this. Something like this. Pretty much showing the code and everything one by one only. And this is the notes. Every class has the notes. You will get all the notes and everything. So you can practice it like something like that. Yeah. So then after Python, we started, I think, data topics, I think. Oh no, SQL. After Python, then we started SQL. You can see SQL after 18th class, 17th class. Then SQL, after SQL, we started the data concepts like NumPy, pandas, and everything. And then we have some machine learning. We started machine learning. The machine learning topics are is all machine learning only. Then some advanced SQL. These all are advanced SQL. And then deep learning, like after 67 class, 66 class. Yeah, something like that. So same thing for you also, same. We start with basic programming knowledge, so database language. Then we slowly to go towards the machine learning and deep learning. So that is the idea. Of course, I'll get you the access so you can take a look at maybe previous batch classes.
Yes, yes.
Then maybe you can understand better. Like,
Mhm.
yep. Yeah. Any questions? Anything? Yeah, that's pretty much I want to tell in the demo only. Obviously, hope you get at least a little bit.
So how will the course will be structured? First, we will learn about the types of data, and then we'll start with the
Python.
data and softwares, Python.
Right. First, you understand a little bit of introduction of data, about data. Then we go for, maybe I'll tell you the roadmap a bit. So let's say
We'll
roadmap.
be learning data cleaning also.
Yes,
Those
yes.
will.
Yeah, I mean, those are the topics here. Whatever the topics I mentioned here, you will learn data cleaning, data distribution, statistics,
Yes,
manipulation.
yes. Okay, 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 okay.
These all are there.
All of these will be covered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Every class, every topic is a class.
Mhm.
Right. So, yeah, first we give you overview. Obviously, in the first few days, obviously you'll get the overview of things. Typically, we start with Python, then Python fundamentals first, basic Python, and then SQL. These two things are what common people ask. I mean, 99.99% people ask these two, like companies. We start with them. Then you go for the data topics, which is more like these only: data cleaning, distribution, statistics, and everything. That's one. These all are data topics. After the data topics, you will go for, I mean, everywhere you have to do a project. Here you have to do a project. Here also you have to do a project. Then we go to machine learning. Machine learning, you have to do a project. Then we go for deep learning. You have to do a project here, something like that. Same thing. Whatever topics we cover here, we'll try to cover as much as we can in this time. So, yeah. Yeah, this is just basically mind map of how things work. Yeah, data concepts. There's something called EDA, we call exploratory data analysis. And of course, Python, you have fundamentals. And so you have some data packages like NumPy, Pandas, stuff like that. Some API tools you have to know. These is advanced. Last, we'll do generative AI. Maybe last, after deep learning, you will do generative. And domains like computer vision and NLP also taught to some extent because they're big domains, but you will get some version of it like computer vision and NLP. Yeah, I think mostly that only. That's how we create. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you want to ask? You want to know?
No. The you have already explained the basics, how the course
Mhm.
will be
Mhm.
structured and everything.
Mhm.
So maybe, so generally, when will be the classes scheduled? From Monday, on weekends also we'll be able to
No,
have the
I
classes?
think Monday to Friday is what we call because you
Okay,
can
okay.
able
Monday
to
to
focus
Friday. In the evening,
in
we
the
will
evening.
take the classes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, usually you want to have a break actually. It's like usually Saturday, Sunday, we just don't focus. But if you feel like you
But Saturdays, and at least we can practice on Saturday,
we
Sunday,
can,
whatever
of course,
that
the
we do.
institute open will open. Obviously, you can practice on Saturday, Sunday if you have time. That's not a problem. But typically Monday to Friday is what we call like regular classes.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool then. Of course, if you have any questions, you feel free to get back to us. We'll write you back.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
sure. Yeah, yeah.
I recorded this demo.